shows a set that understands each other, that's cooled with one another. It makes communication easy. It makes networking easy. It makes sharing of intelligence easy. Little wonder it is getting better by the day. It is one day at a time. We are not yet there, but there is definitely a strong hope that we will be there with this renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, which you have reflected very well in the way and the manner you address the concerns of Nigerians through their various representatives. For what is democracy without the parliament? Parliament remains the fulcrum of our democracy. What is democracy without the people? And what is the people in democracy without engagement? What we have done today is part of the principles of democracy, public engagement, where the people sees this place as the people's house, where interactions are held, not just for investigation. You were not investigated today. You were not put on the spot today. But we wanted to hear from you, and that we have heard so clearly. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being patient from morning till this time. Thank you for being very comprehensive in your analysis of issues presented before you. You were thorough, and we are so impressed. And this is my way of saying thank you to Mr. Speaker for this initiative of yours, for us to involve in this sectorial engagement periodically with the various sectors of our economy. But there was no other place to have started, to have been the best to start this than the security, because that is the yearning of everyone. I'm happy that when we wanted to meet with finance, it was not possible that day, that security took over. We are so happy that Nigerians who believed that this was the burning issue in their heart, by the time they see the report of what we have done today, they will be so impressed that we have security chiefs who are not just chiefs, but servants of the people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for taking this decision. And I want to thank the leadership of the House for supporting Mr. Speaker in this initiative in line with our legislative agenda. And I want to thank you, members, most distinguished colleagues, who have waited from morning till now, who showed yourself competent with relevant questions. Gone are the days when people in the parliament are treated with disdain, as if they are ones who mistakenly found themselves in the people's house, the parliament. You have shown intelligence in the way you analyze the security situations of the country. You have shown intelligence in the way you presented it before the security chief. You have also shown respect in the way and manner you carried yourself and your dignity and the dignity of this house by the way you presented your question. Thank you very much. This is a signal to those whom we have invited that certainly when you come here to engage with us, you are going to be respected. As well, we are also assured that we are going to be respected. Thank you very much. And to Nigerians who believe in the parliament for this kind of engagement, and some of you who send your questions, we are so proud of you. When the next sectorial engagement calls, please be part of it. Send your question. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you, DS. This brings us to the end of this engagement. And it will be my pleasure to invite the leader of the House, or let's say the acting whip, to please lead our chiefs out of the chamber. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you all. Honorable colleagues, leader, you have let the whip lead them out. Thank you very much. We are grateful. Thank you. The first announcement is coming from the Sardauna of Rano, the Sarkin Yakin Burum Burum, and our leader. And the message reads as follows. This is to invite members of the House Special Committee on Crude Oil Theft and Pipeline Vandalizations for the official inauguration of the committee tomorrow, Wednesday, 22nd day of November 2023. Venue, room 301, new extension. Time, 2:30 p.m. prompt. Signed, Honorable Alasan Adodogwa, Chairman. Another announcement is coming from Honorable Chinda Kingsley and Honorable Ihemvere Julius, the House Leader. And the message reads as follows. This is to inform members from the South-South zone that there will be a meeting of the South-South caucus today after plenary immediately in this chamber. Members of the minority caucus, another message from Honorable Chinda, and the message reads as follows. Members of the minority caucus are enjoined to take snapshots, photograph at the foyer. This is for use in the minority website and magazine Legislative Information and Knowledge Enhancement Series, likes. Signed, Representative Okechinda, Minority Leader. The last announcement is in respect of our next sectoral debate. And I would like to inform you that our next sectoral debate will take place next week, Thursday, and we'll be engaging the Minister of Finance, the Chairman of Federal Inland Revenue, and most likely the Controller of Customs. Those are the three agencies that will be engaging in our next round of sectoral debates. We'll let you know the time that we'll kickstart that program. Thank you very much. Honorable colleagues, there is a shift in the meeting of the Southeast Caucus to tomorrow after plenary. Signed, Deputy Speaker. Leader, can you move that the House resolve to Committee of Supply? Okay, Honorable Faleke, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency from Lagos. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committees of Finance, National Planning and Economic Development, and AIDS and Loans and Debt Management on the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper and approve the recommendations therein. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder from any of the committees? Is there any chairman of the other committees? Honorable Saidu, in their absence, you can second. Okay. We have a chairman, National Planning, Loans and Aids. None? Honorable Saidu, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Said Musa Abdullahi. I represent the people of Bida Agriculture Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Niger State. I rise to second the motion that the report of the Committee on Finance, National Planning, Economic Development, and Aid Laws and Debt Management be considered. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, highly respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Yeyoba Otumba Adewumi Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikene, Shagamu, Remo North. I'm from Ogun State, and I stand to move that this House do move to Committee of Supply. I so move.
Any secondum? Any secondum? Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Agbedi Yejemne Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Kirimo Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion as ably moved. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. House resolved to Committee of Supply. Honorable Faleke, can you please proceed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Deputy Chairman, honorable colleagues. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I have to go through the observations because of our time, or we go straight to the recommendations. But let me give a brief synopsis. Okay. Mr. Chairman, we're considering the medium-term expenditure framework, which is a prerequisite issue and document that we have to discuss, approve before the budget is laid in line with the Fiscal Responsibility Act. The presentation of the MTEF was done on the 21st 11 2023 and was referred to the committees of Finance, National Planning, and Aids and Loans and Debt Management. We took the documents, and of course, the following observations were made, findings and observations. That the suggested benchmark oil price for 2024 to 2025 and 2026 are 73.96, for 2024, 73.76, and 69.90 respectively. We also found that the new administration has provided an enabling environment for an increased oil production volume from an average of between 1.2 million barrels to 1.6 million barrels in the previous 3 years to a projection of 1.78 in 2024, 1.80 in 2025, and 1.81 in 2026. Of course, that the gross domestic product, the GDP growth rate, is also projected to be 3.76%, 4.22, and 4.78 in 2024, 2025, and 2026. The forex market, which, according to the document, has been liberalized, and of course the exchange rate has been unified. The suggested benchmark exchange rate for 2024 is 700 naira to $1, and for 2025 is 665.61 to the dollar, while the 2026 is 669.79 to the dollar. However, we observe that this exchange rate pressure on the naira is due to a lack of foreign reserve as a result of lack of exports of locally produced goods. Despite the difficulties associated with eliminating fuel subsidies, the Central Bank of Nigeria has taken steps to control the inflation rate and lessen pressure on the value of the naira in foreign exchange market. Resultantly, the CBN estimated inflation rate is projected to reduce from 27.33% in October 2023 to an average of 21.40 in 2024, 20.3% in 2025, and 18.6 in 2026 as contained in the MTF document. We also found that following the criteria in the overview of the framework for revenues and expenses, which form the basis of 2024 FGM budget, the federal government proposed spending is 26 trillion naira, of which 16.9 trillion is retained. New borrowings is estimated to be 7.8 trillion, including borrowing from foreign and domestic. While debt service to revenue ratio was 49%, pension gratuities, retiree benefits of 1.2 trillion, and a fiscal deficit of 9 trillion, including GOEs. Projected revenue of 16.96 trillion revenue to the federal government for the 2024 fiscal year is attainable with effective revenue monitoring exercise and oversight by the relevant committees of the National Assembly. The document projected fiscal deficit of 9.048 trillion in 2024, 10.02 trillion in 2025, 11.48 trillion in proposed for 2026. And of course, this year they are 22, 13.6, and 1% lower than the 11.6 trillion fiscal deficit for the 2023. We also find that the federal government's commitment to progressively restructure its debt portfolio towards achieving a balanced domestic to external debt ratio is evident in 2024 to 2026 MTF FSP paper. That a significant number of the federal government revenue generating agencies engage in arbitrary, frivolous, and extra-budgetary expenditure. It was also discovered that most of the revenue agencies violate the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007 due to the lack of punitive measures or provisions in the Act. And most agencies are not complying with financial reporting standards. There are some revenue-generating agencies who are involved in joint venture agreements, especially in the oil and gas sector, where forward sales agreements are executed for upfront payments for future product delivery without recourse to National Assembly. This trend was observed in other sectors, notably in the power sector, where power purchase agreements were entered to by NBET and NDPHC, committing the federal government to a whopping $40 million monthly on a take-or-pay agreement, even when the agencies were fully aware that the country has limitations in meeting up with the obligations of the agreements. Such agreements subject the country to international arbitrations, which exposed the country to huge contingent liabilities. In 2024 alone, contingent liabilities of the government are estimated to be 6.9 trillion and 7 trillion for 2025 and 2026 respectively. The table below lists the contingent liabilities. So that many agencies, particularly those in charge of collecting stamp duties or...
Honorable Chair, you are just supposed to give us the synopsis.
Okay.
Summary.
I was finding let me go to the recommendations.
No, just Just leave the recommendation because those are the ones we consider for approval. Just summarize and conclude.
Okay, so, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we took our time to go through the medium-term expenditure framework documents, and of course, the presentation by the executive is quite in line with their proposal for as far as revenue generation is concerned. What matters to us is the revenue to meet the targets of the 2024 budget. And we agree with these proposals that have been presented to us. However, we believe that with the new improvements that the government is planning, especially that has to do with exchange rates, we believe that if it shows our reserves, our exchange rate can be stabilized as against what we have today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So, honorable colleagues, before you are 24 recommendations made by the committee, the Joint Committee of Finance, Loans and Aids and Economic Planning, and we are going to take them one after the other. We have two options, either to mention, because I know earlier on you must have gone through all the recommendations. I can either read them and then we put the question, or I will just mention the number and we put the question, depending on what time you want. Are we comfortable with just mentioning the number? If I mention the number, you know what the recommendation is all about. Thank you very much. So without any waste of time, I refer you to the recommendation of the reports. Recommendation number 1, carried. Recommendation number 2, carried. Recommendation number 3, carried. Recommendation number 4, carried. Recommendation number 5, recommendation number 6, recommendation number 7. Leave it. Recommendation number 7, recommendation number 8, recommendation number 9, recommendation number 10, recommendation number 11, recommendation number 12, recommendation number 13. Yes, Honorable Rotimi, but you allowed me to hit the gavel already. Number 14? Okay, are you going to talk about the numbering? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
You are now on 14, right? You want to make comments on contribution?
Well, number 14 and number 15.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Akitunde Rotimi, Ekiti North 1. I'm also a member of the House Committee on Telecommunications. And recently we had an engagement with the new management of NIPOST where a number of issues were raised. I would want to recommend that the issues in 13, 14, 15, we also give the Telecommunications Committee an opportunity to engage further on it, because they also made extensive points about the lack of cooperation on the part of the Ministry of Finance in terms of stamp duties collection and so many other issues. So we're talking about...
Do you have any comment as far as number 14 is concerned?
13, 14, 15.
Is it 13 or 14? 13, 14.
Yes.
His concern is totally out of our recommendation. The issue of NIPOST is the fact that NIPOST as an entity belongs to all Nigerians. But some individuals, they created a subsidiary out of NIPOST and registered it in the name of individuals. And what we are saying is that that registration is illegal and it should be discounted. That's that recommendation. It has nothing to do with your stamp duty or whatever. That's not the issue. The registration of the subsidiaries without NIPOs having shares in that subsidiary and individuals having shares in it is completely illegal and against the act setting up NIPOs.
You're very correct, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Speaker, I'm just seeking the leave of the House to allow for the House Committee on Telecommunications to also be able to review these issues because they had an extensive, I wish the chairman was here, there was an extensive engagement with NIPOS on these same matters just sometime last week. And I think we'll benefit from them also being able to intervene, to be able to clarify and make sure that we don't have to go over these issues again, Mr. Chairman, sir. Because this same issue about subsidiaries of NIPOST, including the transportation company, the logistics company, the microfinance bank, all those issues were extensively discussed in the Committee on Telecommunications. So I wouldn't want a situation where in their absence, I don't know if the chairman is here, the gavel goes down on this and yes, sir.
Why is he not here? If he sees it expedient and important, why would he have been here? He knows that we are considering the MTEP today. Notwithstanding, let me recognize Honorable Saidu. I think he has a contribution on this
Thank
subject.
you, Chair. I think we need to be very clear about these issues that we're talking about. What we're talking about is whether or not the individuals have the legal right to have established such subsidiaries. I think that's the question. You need to get it right. Whether or not it's under the purview of the concerned committee, I think it's immaterial now. The point is, these companies were illegally registered. They were not backed by any law. So you don't need any committee to wait for any committee to wind them up. And that's what we had engagement, serious engagement. We looked at their books and established that they were illegally registered. You can't register a subsidiary for a government agency with individuals as shareholders. NIPOS, it was not listed as a shareholder in the documents of those subsidiaries. I think that's the point, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. I think it's very important for our other committees to know that federal government assets are owned by Ministry of Finance Incorporated, not Ministry of Communication or anything. They are owned by Ministry of Finance Incorporated, MOFI. And Ministry of Finance Incorporated was not even carried along in the subsidiary registration. The owners of the assets. To me, that is, completely wrong. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Like I said, Ministry of Finance Incorporated, the owners of the assets, came before us, and we discussed this at length, and they were awash about the way and manner such subsidiaries, would be registered without their involvement. And the moment an agency of government whom we are assigned by law to be the owners of the assets of federal government, they say that they are not aware. It is also normal for us to bring it to the floor and let Nigerians be aware.
Thank you very much for the clarification. For the Committee on Communication, I would want you, since we have been informed sufficiently that the decision will not affect the MTEV one way or the other, I would want us to make progress on this particular area. However, please, we're interested in this particular issue. Come by way of motion. We will recognize you to give us details of this issue as it relates to other committees. You understand? Thank you. So we proceed to 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I told someone just saying carry. Eh? Thank you very much. So we put the question. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable colleagues, Adeomi Ononuga, I move that the House do revert back to plenary to report progress. I so move.
Any seconder? Leader.
Mr. Chairman, my dear colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the House do revert back to plenary to adopt our proceedings. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. House has resolved back to plenary. Honorable colleagues, the House and Committee of the Whole, Committee of Supply, considered the report of the Committees on Finance, National Planning and Economic Development and AIDS, Loans and Debt Management on the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, and also approved recommendations 1 to 24 of the report. Those in support of this should say aye. Those against should say no. The ayes have it. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The adoption of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Adeomi Ononuga, I move that the House do adopt the recommendations from the Committee of Supply. I so move.
Minority Leader, can you second?
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I rise to second the motion that we do adopt the report. I so second.
This motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Announcement. The Southwest Caucus will be having a meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, 22nd November 2023, after plenary, signed by Deputy Chief Whip. Leader, can you move for the adjournment of the House?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Highly respected colleagues. Adeomi Ononuga, I move that the House do adjourn till tomorrow, 22nd November 2023 at 11 a.m. prompt. I so move.
Sure, 10 a.m. You said 10, right? 11, okay. Leader, can you second, please?
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I rise to second that the House do adjourn to tomorrow, 11 a.m. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. I'm with the nay, so let us remain until 12 midnight. Thank you very much.